One man who believes there is a new wave of British heavy metal is the deputy editor of Sounds, Jeff, known to his friends as Death, Barton.
Of the new bands that have come up, they've certainly been influenced by the new wave and the punk explosion. I mean, they play a lot faster now than Black Sabbath did in 1971. They're much faster, they're much more speedy. And I think also they took a degree of attention from punk in that they recorded, to start with, they recorded a lot of their independent singles. They didn't rely on the record companies to pick them up and build their career. They just went out, played concerts and formed their own labels and stuck their own singles out.
Iron Maiden fit this description very well. And, like a lot of punk bands, they have stayed close to their audience. Their success has been based up till now on small gigs in pubs and clubs, rather than the large venues of the previous generation. Lead singer Paul Di'Anno regards this as an important part of the band's attitude.
For instance, like when we played the Rainbow, like we had some damage done to the seats here, but you know, what we wanted was the people to get a little bit closer to us, like, because, God, you're so far away from there. That's why we've gone back to doing places like the Marquee now, because the contact is a lot better, really. I like the smaller venues anyway. I've always agreed with that, and the band's always done it since we ever started.
When the fans are not following Iron Maiden to the live gigs, they can be found at heavy metal discos like Neil Kay's Bandwagon in North London. More than 1,000 heavy metal fans make the pilgrimage to the Bandwagon every week, and getting played there has been important for Iron Maiden in building up a devoted following. But before Kay turned it into the heavy metal soundhouse, the Bandwagon featured disco music 5 nights a week.
It took 5 years, really, of very, very hard work and a lot of persistence to change the whole situation around. These days, as you're well aware, we run 5 nights a week, hard rock, and soul's gone straight out the door, that way, sideways. I even have atomic scientists, trainee scientists that I know of that are regular members of this place that still are into hard rock. But one shouldn't presuppose that just because one is a headbanger that one has only one sort of situation in life. That's totally false. They come from all walks of life, and most part they're totally honest people.
Heavy metal may attract fans from a wide range of backgrounds, but they are mainly male and overwhelmingly white. 2 of the regulars at the Bandwagon Disco are wedding photographer Rob Loonhouse and road mender Alan Day.
You find very few women down the front, you know, actually headbanging. You know, they're quite content to stay at the back and, you know, sip their orange, you know, and listen to the music.
Do you think women make good headbangers?
It's very difficult, really, you know, because a lot of women, you know, they don't really have it in them. You know, you find very few women digging holes in the road, you know, so maybe that's one of the reasons why, you know, there's very few women headbangers.
With attitudes like that, especially towards women, reflected in a lot of heavy metal lyrics, maybe it's not surprising that women don't flock to see bands like Iron Maiden. Even the clothes have an aggressive look about them. Patched denims are worn with leather jackets and shiny metal studs, but the uniform has more in common with football fans than with punks, mods or even skins.
If you go wearing a suit or a tuxedo, that's going to be ridiculous. People like to wear their hair long and wear leather. It's more comfortable, you know, it's easy going, and if you get messy, you know, someone throws a beer over you, you don't have an argument, you say, OK, you know, sorry about that, I'll buy you a pint.
Headbanging is to heavy metal what the pogo was to punk. And at the Bandwagon, the mouthful of safety pins has given way to a recurring symbol of rock fantasy, the homemade imitation guitar. Loonhouse built his first guitar in response to a challenge to decide the headbanger of the year.
Still, this guy comes up to me and he says, you don't mind if I bring a Gibson body along? He hasn't got no strings or pickups or anything like that on it. It's just, you know, body and a neck. So I go to it, bring what bleeding like along, mate. Bring an orchestra if you like. Still, anyhow, I got to thinking, you know, this bloke's got the edge on me, you know, he's got a guitar, you know, this is going to stick in people's minds. So I thought to myself, oh, well, make a cut out. So I got a couple of bits of hardboard together, traced out the outline of a flying V, and there it was. It started from there.
Why the flying V, particularly?
Well, I only had a couple of days to do it. It was all straight lines and it's easy to cut out.
Do you go into detail on them? I mean, stuff on the actual thing?
First of all, you know, the first one, you know, it was very rough, you know. I cocked the neck up, the neck was too wide, you know, the body wasn't big enough. On the latest one at the moment, I've got the neck right, I've got the body right. I've put a tremolo on it, I've put a couple of bits of sticky tape on it, you know, brighten it up a bit, you know. So from a distance, it does look a bit like a real guitar, you know.
Has it got frets on it?
Oh, no, I don't bother with frets, you know. I think it's taking the piss a bit, really, you know, when you put frets on it, you know, you're making it look too much like a real guitar. It's supposed to look like a guitar, but it's not really supposed to look like a real guitar, you know. You know, it's only supposed to be kind of like a harlequin of a real guitar, you know, just an image.
How many have you made?
I've got about 3 at home at the moment. I've got a V, I've got a twin neck V, I've got an inverted V which I made specially, which is a bit of a flop really. In all I've made about half a dozen. Progressively getting better all the time.
If the heavy metal boom is being taken seriously by the fans with their imaginary guitars, it's certainly causing a stir in the offices of the record companies. Iron Maiden was signed to EMI last year, but when they formed in 1976, punk was what was selling. And as Steve Harris explains, when the band were first offered a recording deal 4 years ago, they were told punk was what they had to play.
But they want us to get us a cut our hair and all that sort of thing. And, you know, we just said, well, no way, because it's not what we want to do, you know. They want us to play more commercial music. So, you know, I mean, it was, people say, you know, was it easy to, or hard to sort of just turn down a deal or anything like that. But it's not hard to do something when you don't like what you're going to have to do, sort of thing, you know. It's just not hard to stick to your guns if you're into what you're doing, you know.
After that first offer, Iron Maiden decided to take action. They sent a demo tape to Neil Kay at the Bandwagon, and when the tape began to feature in the chart which Kay compiles from fans' requests, the band decided to take the next step and release it on their own label, Rock Hard Records. Finally, the major record companies woke up to the selling power of heavy metal, and the band signed with EMI. Their first album went straight into the charts. But since '76, record sales overall have declined, and although the companies may see heavy metal as a way out of their current recession, they are using increasingly desperate publicity stunts to promote the new sound. Jeff Barton thinks the hype may have gone too far.
Yes, I think the record companies are promoting this so-called heavy metal revival very crassly and very badly. For example, one record company made the offer of giving away a free cardboard guitar with every album purchased. And they're like marketing it like it's soap powder at the moment, really. It was all very well when heavy metal was popular on the grassroots level, and the kids used to go out and get a bit of hardboard and hack it into the shape of a flying V and just do it because they wanted to do it. But it's been reduced to a mindless trend now when you've got cardboard guitars ready-made for you, and you can go in a shop and get one free with every purchase of such and such an album. It's completely ridiculous, and I think it ruins all the sort of novelty of it and the genuine good times and the actual interest that was there at the beginning. I think it's going completely over the top, really.
Still, provided they can survive the hype, Iron Maiden are on the verge of becoming a very successful band.